Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this tournament grand finals. It's going to be the Chaos Dwarfs led by Driver facing off against the Greenskins, who shall be helmed by Charix here on the Dust Bowl, which is an absolute artillery power fantasy map. Now, of course, if I were playing the Chaos Dwarfs, I don't think I'd be able to resist the call to go like triple magma cannon or something really haggard like that, but competitively speaking, I find that if you go too heavy on artillery against Greenskins, they just kind of swarm you, pin you back, and then you lose on points. So I do think it's more correct to move up and meet them head on with Kadai Fireborn, Demon Trains, big Bale Tours character and all that kind of stuff. So for the build here of Driver, it is going to be 2 Sneaky Gits, which I think are pretty good against Greenskins. They give you Vanguard capture weight, and they're also pretty good against rank and file. So you use them against like Goblins and Orc Boys, and they trade pretty damn well. And that Precursor ammo, not bad. Some free value there. Fireborn, pretty good grindy units. Obviously, you don't want to get them isolated by Boarboy Biggins or hammered by arrows, but even still, they have 80 armor, so these bad boys can fight. Chaos Dwarf Warriors and Mass Warriors with a Bale Taurus Sorcerer of Fire. So Fireball in tandem with Burning Head, both very good choices. And it looks like the big Acid Burpa going to be moving in and going to be munching on some of those little guys down there. So the Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits not having the best of times. But the Kadai Fireborn, pretty fighty. They do have 120 damage apiece, so if you have like 4 Fireborn hitting you, 4 of their models, it's basically like the same thing as being hit by the Acid Burpa. Pretty nasty, and here comes the big man. It is going to be the Sorcerer Prophet diving in, the Acid Burpa here, getting hammered pretty good, but Azag, he's on his way, with only Purple Sun, no Spirit Leech. Yeah, no Spirit Leech to be had, but he's a good fighter. He's got poison and good stats, but he's very much like a... Yeah, I don't know if like a Chihuahua is like an apt analogy for him. He's like one of those dogs that like creeps up on you, bites your leg, and then runs away. He doesn't want a head-on fight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he wants to come in, attack you with a couple poison attacks, and then use his incredible 121 speed right now. That Wyvern speed, of course, his base is like just around 100 to get away. Now, a Doomdiver Catapult being called out by the Greenskin. So Charix going to be using that to hammer the Sorcerer Prophet. I don't hate it. Elsewhere, Objective 3 going to be going to Greenskins, and the middle objective is held by the Chaos Dwarves, who are now going to be calling in the Demon's Tongue. An excellent choice. Everything here is pretty weak against it, so I do think that is quite brilliant. So here comes Azag, hunting down the Sorcerer Prophet, the Doomdiver Catapult. It's not the most accurate gets, but that one did hit right there and do a little bit of damage. Purple Sun attempt by Charix. It does tickle the pickle a little bit on those Chaos Dwarf Warriors, but ultimately not terribly effective there. And it looks like we are going to be seeing a big combat here in the middle. Now, Chaos Dwarves do have a lock on objectives 1 and 2 with the Fireborn and relatively stalwart infantry holding. And that's going to be a big Burning Head going down on the Goblins. Azag's Ard Armor popped. And we do see the Acid Burpa getting that buff as well, and it is going to be some Mortal Wombat. So Fireborn and Sorcerer Prophet versus the Acid Burpa and Azag. But positionally speaking, this fight is much better for Driver. We do actually see the Acid Burpa surrounded by the Kadai Fireborn, and the Sorcerer Prophet has a much better angle and is connecting very, very effectively. Granted, he's taking some damage as well. I do like the Demon Train coming in. The Demon's Tongue is really nasty. This thing has a leadership discouraging effect, and it is just so brutal against Greenskins. All right, so it does move in there, but the Sorcerer Prophet kind of getting a little bit now from the Acid Burpa. That thing didn't hear no bell. It's fighting pretty hard, and we do see a Kadai Fireborn unit going down as well. And Azag is still in very, very good shape. I'm sure Charix wishing he had brought Spirit Leech, but Doomdiver Catapult popping into the Sorcerer Prophet and getting him down progressively over time. Chaos Dwarves able to win over on objective number 1. So their Sneaky Gits and their Kadai able to hold that down. Now, this fight is a little bit more pitched. We do see some Boarboy Biggins piling in to try and fight against the Demon's Tongue. Burning Head going to be activated by the Sorcerer Prophet to clear out some of the Goblins, and also may go through and hit some of the Boarboys. But Azag does have some regional buffs too. I don't know if he brought them. He did bring Slag as Slashes. Yeah, so these give leadership and melee attack to all nearby units. It's a very, very good item, actually. Azag is very much a finesse character. You got to be really careful with him. But if you use him well, he can get a lot of utility out, for sure. So he's thinking about going up in the sky, it looks like. So the Wyvern going to be chasing, and this is where he gets to be a true bully character and try and catch that Sorcerer Prophet. Sorcerer Prophet most likely going to be landing on the ground. We'll have to see. Boarboy Biggins getting a pretty good fight. Granted, getting melted really bad. I guess they were already kind of low, but that's not an ideal situation for Boarboy Biggins to be fighting Kadai Fireborn, but I think they were just too beat up when the fighting started, and those guys do melt down. Now, Azag able to find the Demon's Tongue. He moves over, so the Orc Boarboy Biggins, as well as Azag the Slaughter with a lot of damage there. Demon's Tongue getting chewed up. Yeah, sitting at about 2100 to 1800 there as Azag does connect. Looking at the macro of the battlefield, Objective 1 for Chaos Dwarves, Objective 2 still in the clutches of the Dawi Zar. Now, the Dawi Zar are a little bit behind in value. Charix has farmed a metric ton of value off this Demon's Tongue and also on the Sorcerer Prophet. But here's the thing, if you've ever played 40k, you got to finish off that Imperial Knight, because if you don't, when he comes back the next turn, homie's going to just unleash a huge salvo and wreck your shit. So Yeah, you got to get that, because that thing can still wreak a lot of havoc here on this battlefield. So Chaos Dwarves holding on to the points, and we do see the big Acid Burpa coming back in with some Savage Orc Boys, which are pretty good against Chaos Dwarf infantry, especially with the big Squig marching with them. And Azag trying to finish off the job, attacking in. We do see 1,300 HP. Azag sitting at about 1,100 value as the Kadai Fireborn going to be coming in, screening him out, and the Evil Sorcerer Prophet going to be sitting up in the skies with his pistol, and now actually clashing with Azag, willing to take that risk. Azag is a lot more flimsy. The Sorcerer Prophet does have higher melee defense, and I think their armor is actually the exact same at 70. Hashid Stark Ravagers coming in. I do like that. They have throwing axes, so they can put pressure on him. And the Sorcerer Prophet is going to be landing on the ground. And Azag actually comes down here. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for Charix. I don't know. Because that Demon's Tongue's going to get all up on him. And right now, the Art Armor is popped, and Azag is going to need to flee. Very much a finesse character. Going to be dropping that Purple Sun. Won't you come and wash away the evil Kadai Fireborn. Boy Biggins going to be able to break these guys on the charge most likely. And Purple Sun actually doing a little bit of damage here. I don't hate it. But the throwing axes from Hashid Stark Ravagers hit super freaking hard. But it looks like he's going to be opting to go into melee. And Azag could be done for here as we see some Hobgoblins moved in. Burning Head activated by the Sorcerer Prophet to try and break away the Greenskin support. And this is how you pull the game back. This is absolutely how you pull the game back. Because right now, Charix has a value lead, yes, but the Sorcerer Prophet's still functional. The train is still going strong. Not strong, 800 HP, but still going. And if you can't finish those things off, I mean, they're just going to probably win the game for the Chaos Dwarves. Hobgoblins fighting here. Kadai Fireborn going to be battling it out here as a couple of Chaos Dwarf Warriors and Sneaky Gets try and chase down some of the Cav units. But that was basically the turning point in the game, a big turning the tide, as we do see Azag getting broken at 10 leadership here. And I really like Hashid Stark Ravager. It's a great utility piece. They wreck infantry. They do well enough against Cav because their stats are so damn high. And they also have some ranged pressure they can put on people. So yeah, that should be a clean chase off here for the Sorcerer Prophet. Granted, Azag is a bit faster, so maybe he creates enough separation and rallies, but he's not the bravest of lords, Azag. You know, he's got that scheming, but of course not a powerhouse in terms of leadership. I think his base leadership is 72. Yeah, it's really not that good. All right, so he goes off the battlefield. Objective 2 for the Chaos Dwarves, and Objective 1 still in the clutches of the Dowie Czar with some Kadai holding it down over there. And the Demon's Train, dude, this sucks so bad for Charix, man. The Demon's Tongue being alive with 800 HP, he really just needed Spirit Leech. And I think with Spirit Leech, he would have just won this game. He would have killed the Demon's Tongue and probably would have had the Lord very low as well. Purple Sun is very good against Chaos Dwarves, though, so I understand the logic there. It's excellent at melting like any good quality infantry they try and bring, and or Fire Glaives, or even just regular Chaos Dwarf infantry. Now, Charix, still a good enough player, you know, world champ level player, is going to be coming back in here with his Boy Biggins and chewing through those Kadai right there. So he's going to be nibbling on those bad boys. Yes, yes. So that is going to be going, and he is going to flip that one. But the Chaos Dwarf still holding on to the other 2 points. So there's going to be a lot of mobility scrapping, but between the Demon's Tongue, the Hashid Stark Ravagers, and the Sorcerer Prophet, who's still somewhat healthy. Not somewhat, but he has 2k HP, so he can still contribute to some of the fights. It's going to be very tricky. We do see the Demon's Tongue being targeted by the Doomdiver catapults. Let's see if any of the Sneaky Gits can get in there. And hey, that's 2 direct hits right there. 400 HP, man. I mean, hey, that's how Charix pulls it back, man. That is how he pulls it back. The clutch Doomdiver, because if that Doomdiver kills the Demon's Tongue and then can rout the Sorcerer Prophet, Charix could win this game, absolutely. Flamethrower's on the way in. Beautiful Flamethrower volley right there. Really, really nice. And it's going to be going out on its shield, getting charged, and down it goes. The Demon's Tongue is there. Reminds me of a tabletop tournament I played in when I was playing Chaos Dwarves. One of the guys at the tournament knocked my Demon's Tongue off the table, and it shattered into like 1,000 pieces. And it looked just like that. It was very, very tragic. But yeah, that was unfortunate. It was repaired though. My crafty wife, she was able to repair it, so it's back in business. Here, Hashid Stark Ravagers chasing the Orc Boy Biggins. Chaos Dwarves not quite in a position where they can win on just one and hunker down. They're still going to have to play the field. The Sorcerer Prophet at 1,300 HP, Doomdiver Catapult, should honestly just target him for the rest of the game. And this is one thing Greenskins are pretty good at compared to Chaos Dwarves. Their mobility packs a punch. Chaos Dwarf mobility is, you know, Wolf Riders and or Bull Centaurs, but Bull Centaurs have very low speed. Right now, look at this. Hashid Stark Ravagers sitting at like 54 speed or something. No, those are the Kadai. I think they're like 60, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 53 right now. Their baseline is what? 62, yeah. They're very tired, so it's going to be slowed down. It could be a whack-a-mole situation, man. Charix has insane Zoomer micro, and right here we do see Objective 3 is being retaken by the Greenskins, and the Chaos Dwarves, do they win on just the one? They do not. As long as this flips at a couple seconds, he's okay. So basically, Charix reached 500 points before he reached 1,000, which means Charix would win on 2. That's like a really quick way to do mental math. For example, another threshold is if your opponent reaches 1250, and you're not quite at at the 1,000 there. You get the idea, so... All right, so Dirk and Squigs, Orc Boar Boys are on the way in. Honestly, resummoning Azag probably wouldn't be a terrible idea. The Chaos Dwarves are very hemmed in. Granted, they do have the Hashed Stark Ravagers and the Chaos Dwarf Warriors, and a healthy unit of Kadai here in the middle, which is going to pack a bit of a punch. And the Doomdiver Catapult probably wants to keep chasing that Sorcerer Prophet, because getting rid of him would just probably end the game. Kadai going to be charging in. Charix with a bit of a micro blunder, actually, letting his Orc Boar Boy Biggins get charged there. He might lose a couple, but should be all right. He does manage to fold up some Chaos Dwarves over here, and those boars going to be squealing away. While the Doom Divers, are they going to clutch this game? Oh, there they go. And it looks like they did miss right there. So the Sorcerer Prophet able to just kind of matrix those. So Hashed Stark Raptor is throwing right here. The Goblin Spear is holding it down, but Chaos Dwarves for sure going to get that point back. But it looks like Charik's going to be going for an Alpha Strike in the middle. And that is a proper wog right there. That is a lot of bacon, dude. And they get the full surround, surrounding the Fireborn, and Charik's just outmaneuvering here. But again, that's kind of the weakness of Chaos Dwarves in general. You can't really keep up with that maneuvering. It's just one of the downsides of the faction. You kind of can with Wolf Riders, but they get folded by Boar Boys. So, yeah, really nice round right there, though. The entire Chaos Dwarf line gets absolutely obliterated. And here comes the Demon's Tongue again. Really? Damn, dude, he's going for it. Wog activated there. The war is here, and they are folding these guys up, man. Fireborn not going to last super long in there. There's a lot of armor piercing, and some of them are anti-large as well. Though the Chaos Dwarves, though, very comfortable over on Objective 3. I think they have to leave one Chaos Dwarf Warrior there. It's really tricky for them, man. They still have the points lead, so maybe you can pull something out. Charik's using Morgub's Magi Marauders to hunt down the Sorcerer Prophet in the sky. 66 leadership on him, and he's going to go down. These Giga Chad Goblins. One of them is going to be like telling their homies, like, yeah, I took down like a mighty Sorcerer Prophet of the Chaos Dwarves. Nobody will believe them. Although, I don't know, it looks like they're kind of having trouble tracking him right now as they're being chased by these Wolf Riders. So the clutch shave, but with 52 leadership, probably not going to be too much of a variable going forward here in the game, as Charix is desperately trying to get him, and he's going to have to sacrifice these Morgrubs maybe to get the kill. 52, oh, he's trying to track. I think, yeah, he's like trying to micro and not lose him at the same time. He has a little bit of ammo left, so I think he's being very careful, trying to get right under him before he shoots. He's going to have to slap them in guard mode and just make sure that guy gets taken off the battlefield. Now, Demon's Tongue is in. It is wrestling them off the middle objective. Over here, we have Hashed Stark Ravagers, and this is probably the step forward for the Chaos Dwarves, is just to, like, you have to leave something powerful at each objective, right? Is that Sorcerer Prophet going to be taken off the battlefield? The Morgrubs, Mangy Chads, they're just running underneath him to make sure he goes. Oh, there he goes, in the face. Down goes the Sorcerer Prophet, but so too do the Mangy Marauders. So back in the middle, the Greenskins fighting a valiant fight. They do get a good surround here on the Demon's Tongue. The Demon's Tongue might be able to leadership break them and terror route them. We're going to have to see. The Boar Boys are burnt, and they're not known for their staying power, as the Demon's Tongue able to fold those guys up. Now, probably going to see Azag resummon, maybe, for Charix. He does have 1,800 in the pool. I think it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to try and deal with some of these big threats and help your leadership. But, I don't know, Chaos Dwarves now are back on it. That's all it took, man. Very back and forth scrap here. We do see Charix catching up in points, but he is leaderless. And his opponent has managed to get a critical mass of, like, scary units between the the Hashed Stark Ravagers and the Demon's Tongue. Homeboy is chilling here. Backside, Hobgoblin Sneaky Git's going to be on their way in to try and steal that objective, and that could be a triple cap here for Driver, man. What a great game this has been. This has been, like, very back and forth. It's kind of looked like at multiple points in this game it's over for either player. Like, I thought it was over early on, and then we had the swing back where the Greenskins were able to rally and outmaneuver the Chaos Dwarves, but then the Chaos Dwarves kind of planted their feet down with a couple of elite units and were able to anchor some points here. So yeah, for the Chaos Dwarves, you don't want to make the mistake of playing all three objectives. If you spread out, Charix is going to pick you off. You have the points lead, just play two. Like, safely bounce between objectives 3 and 2 and call it a frickin' day. So Boar Boy Biggins are on their way in, and the Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits for sure not going to have success here. As a matter of fact, probably just going to get run down if Charix notices them. But I think Charix knows that a lot of urgency here. So those are going to be Orc Boys, who will lose to Dawizar Warriors. And he's going to need another objective here very, very soon, because we do see Charix up in value, but yeah, the Chaos Dwarves, yeah, a lot of things aren't accurately reflected, and those SEs have just done an incredible amount of work in tandem with, like, leadership breaks and things like that. So Boar Boy Biggins get a nice little charge there on the Demon's Tongue, but it is going to be rotating over and flame throwing some of the Goblin Spears. The Orc Boys trying to get that point. He's going to need some squigs or something over here, something to chew through those guys, some sort of armor piercing. Demon's Tongue rotating about face, whereas here are the Chaos Dwarves going to get it? Yes, they are. So the Hobgoblins swarm in the late game with the Sneaky Gits and the Hashed Ravager Chads. They'll be able to beat these Boar Boy Biggins. I mean, yes, the Boar Boy Biggins will trade cost effectively into them, but the Hashed Stark Ravagers, these guys are absolute Terminators. They pack a huge punch. and are going to be probably able to boink through them. Let's go ahead and look at their HP. They are taking big damage. Kind of a closer fight than you would think, but I do think the Boyz will end up losing that in the end. Triple cap for the Chaos Dwarves. They're at 1,400 points, and despite Charix's best efforts, I think he's just going to run out of time. We do see the Demon's Tongue rolling across. That will probably dispatch of these Squigs as well as the Orc Boyz. I mean, it's a 2,000 gold unit. And victory for the Legions of Asgard and Driver. Very, very impressive game by both sides. Really, and that's what I'm saying about Azag, man. He's good, but if you fumble him for 1 second, you kind of just lose the game. He's very flimsy, has incredibly low melee defense, not a very big HP pool, but high speed, really surgical character, but that's all it takes is one mistake. And, you know, Driver capitalized on that. He was able to take advantage and get the momentum in the game. But Charix, with his scrappy micro, almost pulled it back. But the elite Chaos Dwarf assets were able to close it out. So value, 3,000 on the Sorcerer Prophet. Kadai doing very, very well. Big fan of Kadai. They're awesome. Demon's Tongue, 27, but it was summoned twice, so it didn't quite pay for itself, actually. And Dark Ravagers, 1,200. Kadai Fireborn at 26. Very, very good stuff. And yeah, this is kind of the more correct direction to play against Greenskins. If you index into artillery like I love doing, it kind of just gets you pinned back on points. Maybe like one artillery, like the ROR Hell Cannon is good, but Doomdiver Catapults can actually counter it, which is pretty funny. So you got to watch out for that. Azag, 1,900. Really needed Spirit Leech. Really, really needed that. Morgub's at 2,600 value. Jeez Louise, that's insane. And the Doomdiver Catapult only got about 700 value, or was that a second one? I'm surprised it didn't get more. Seemed like it hit a lot. All right, guys. See you around. Well played to these mighty champions, and that is going to be it for tonight. Cheers.